On the morning of the 26th of April, 1999, Jill Dando left Alan Farthing's house in her BMW 3 Series convertible to drive back to Fulham. She was selling the house. It was on the market. On the way, she stopped off a couple of times. She's picked up in a mall in Hammersmith, the one above the tube station, going to buy, I think she got 2 Dover sole fillets and she went to Ryman's, or, absolutely mundane. The interesting thing is how anyone would have known that particular morning she was going to drive back to her house. Let's come back to that.
Okay.
She drives to Gowan Avenue in Fulham, number 29, parks the car and walks up the front drive. It's a series of terraced houses, quite small, rather beautiful, go back quite a long way. And the neighbours are cheek by jowl. It's not semi-detached. It's a terrace.
Yeah.
She gets to the doorstep at 11:32. And from nowhere, a man emerges. Now, there's been a lot of speculation that he said something like, "Oh, nice to see you," or she made some kind of, as if she might have known him. It's very speculative. One of the neighbours thinks he might have heard that. It's possible. Whatever is true, however, what is true is that the man essentially forced her head down onto the ground and shot her through the left temple with a 9mm gun. The bullet entered her left temple and exited her right.
At close range?
Pressed the gun against her temple.
Didn't have a silencer on it?
It had no silencer, but no one heard the shot. Partly, probably, because it was literally... The other reason, of course, to press the gun
it's because it's
close
the same as putting a pillow there, isn't it?
Close to the temple is that, of course, there's no blood spatter.
Oh, yeah, of course.
He's not going to get covered in blood.
So he knew what he was doing.
Yeah. It is, without, in my mind, any doubt, a professional hit of one kind or another.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of planning, and he could not have been acting alone. How on earth could they have been certain that she was going to go back to the house that particular morning, unless they were watching her? Several hit squads are usually 4 men, not unlike a surveillance squad for the Metropolitan Police.
Well, when you say 4 men, do you mean 4 separate individuals? As in like 4 a person who is a man?
4 separate people. Because you need a car or cars, you need somewhere to watch, you need changing watches so that the person being
followed doesn't
guess that they're being followed. Anyway, Jill Dando dies instantly, slumped on her front doorstep. She's not found for 14 minutes because although the next door neighbour heard this, what might have been a recognition, he looked out of the window and he saw, and this is the only eyewitness, a man of about 6 feet in height and aged about 40 with dark hair, and he was white. That's it. That's all we've got. We have nothing else.
But he wasn't wearing a mask or a hat or
Nope. He wasn't wearing a mask or a hat, and it was April. He wasn't distinctively dressed. He wasn't wearing a hoodie or,
and at this time it was, what time in the morning?
11:32 in the morning. 11:32. So it's broad daylight.
It's like the middle of the day.
Broad daylight.
Yeah.
It was a very, one has to say, audacious action.
Got to be professional.
I would have thought so. Anyway, finally, a next-door neighbour called Helen Dobble discovers her on the doorstep, and the police are called at 11:47. Ambulance, of course, arrives, whisks her into Charing Cross Hospital, not far away, but she's pronounced dead at 13:03. It is an extraordinary blatant, broad daylight crime in a perfectly ordinary Fulham street. The astonishing thing is that no one saw anything. No one, apart from the next door neighbour seeing a man walk past. There didn't appear to be any other people in the street at the time. How that happened, I mean, you could say on behalf of the assassin, good fortune, but it was astonishing that here we are, broad daylight. It was quite a bright day. It was quite, a bit of sunshine. It was on the edge of May. Not surprisingly, the media interest was extraordinary, intense. The Metropolitan Police launched what they called Operation Oxborough, led by the very well-respected and talented then DCI Hamish Campbell. They interviewed, they took statement after statement and got absolutely nowhere. There was a man seen running across the Fulham Palace Road, stopping the traffic. There was a Range Rover seen speeding away. There was a man seen crouching near the park on a mobile phone. But in the end, not a single one of those leads went anywhere. And we're now talking about the best part of a year. A blank. Now, as you can imagine, the Metropolitan Police were not too pleased. I mean, this is a very, very high-profile murder.
And they can't do anything about it.
They have not got the first idea. The forensics are blurred. They know it's a 9mm. They know the bullet went through and through, but they know very, very little else. And eventually, no, I wouldn't say, it would be unfair to say in desperation. Eventually, Hamish Campbell came round to the view that Jill was being stalked by someone who knew the area. And not surprisingly, if you go through the database of people who've got a little bit of previous in this area, a little bit of stalking previous, and the odd antisocial behaviour and sexual offence, they tend to come to the front of the line of persons of interest. In particular, one individual did. He was called Barry George. He was born in 1960, so he was then nearly 40. He'd had brain damage, epilepsy, and Asperger's.
Had she reported that she'd been stalked before?
No, but she had reported, and that's one of the interesting elements of this case. She had told a couple of friends that she was being pestered just before the murder. A bloke was getting onto her.
Like on the phone or on...
I don't
know.
No, we don't know, genuinely. Anyway, Barry George was arrested on the 25th of May, 2000, a year after the killing, and charged on the 28th of May, tried at the Old Bailey in July.
They just tried him with what evidence?
I think it would be fair to say the evidence was thin. It basically rotated around some gunshot residue that was found in the outside pocket of Barry George's raincoat.
That seems a bit much. They just wanted to find someone then.
I couldn't possibly say that, but let's put it this way. They were under a great deal of pressure and for one reason or another had got nowhere. Now, Barry George fiercely, and I do mean fiercely, protested his innocence. I didn't do it. I was nowhere near there. Nevertheless, he was convicted.